In the southernmost corner of India, hidden within the emerald lands of Kerala, stands a temple that guards both faith and fear. It is not just a shrine, it is a legend, a place where a god sleeps upon a serpent, and where gold and mystery rest beneath solid stone. This is the Padmanabhaswamy Temple, the richest, most secret temple in the world. At sunrise, its golden towers shimmer over the city of Thiruvananthapuram, the city of Ananta, the Endless One. Inside, Lord Vishnu lies in eternal rest upon the serpent Adi Shesha, floating on the cosmic ocean of time. From his navel blooms a lotus, and upon that lotus sits Brahma, the creator. This is why he is called Padmanabha, the one from whose navel the lotus springs. The temple itself is a breathtaking blend of Kerala and Dravidian architecture. Its seven-tiered gopuram rises nearly 100 feet high, intricately carved with thousands of celestial beings. When sunlight touches the stones, they glow like molten gold. Inside, 3 massive doors reveal the sleeping god. His head through the first, his body through the second, and his feet through the third. No human can see him whole in a single glance. You must move from door to door, as if journeying from birth to salvation. The idol is crafted from 12,008 sacred stones, or salagramas, brought all the way from the Gandaki River in Nepal. Each stone is said to hold divine energy. The entire figure is coated with a secret Ayurvedic mixture that has preserved it for centuries. Around him rest his consorts, Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, and Bhudavi, the goddess of the earth. In his right hand, he holds a Shiva Linga, a profound symbol that creation and destruction are one and the same. Every morning the temple awakens with the sound of conch shells and 108 temple bells. Devotees walk barefoot, their voices rising in unison, chanting the name of Vishnu. Om Namo Narayana. It is believed that even hearing this chant can purify the soul. The air is thick with the scent of sandalwood and burning camphor. The stone steps are cool beneath your feet, and every corner whispers with centuries of devotion. But this temple was not just a home for the divine. It was the very soul of a kingdom, the Travancore Empire. Almost 3 centuries ago, King Marthandavarma stood before this very idol and made a vow that changed history. He laid his sword before the deity and declared, "From this day I rule as your servant. This kingdom belongs not to me but to Padmanabhaswamy." He dedicated his throne, his people, his life, everything to the Lord. From that moment, the kings of Travancore were no longer just kings. They became Padmanabhadasas, servants of God. Since then, every ruler of Travancore has governed in his name. Even today, the royal family begins every ceremony by bowing before the sleeping god. For them, power is not something to be owned, it is something to be offered. Over the centuries, the temple became a living treasury. Gold, silver, gems, diamonds, and crowns poured in from rulers, merchants, and pilgrims. Ancient kingdoms like the Cheras, Pandyas, and Cholas all sent offerings. It's even said that traders from Rome and Greece brought coins of pure gold to this very temple. Generation after generation, the treasure grew, unseen, untouched, and protected by faith. Beneath the temple lie vaults, secret chambers called Nilavaras, sealed by iron doors and guarded by serpents carved in stone. The most mysterious of them all is Vault B, the Forbidden Vault. It has not been opened for centuries. Legends claim it is protected by divine guardians. Some say that anyone who dares to open it will awaken a terrible curse. Others whisper that inside lies enough gold to buy an entire nation. Yet, the temple is so much more than its wealth. Its history stretches beyond memory. Ancient texts, the Vishnu Purana, the Brahma Purana, and even the Mahabharata speak of this holy place. Tamil poets of the Sangam age described a golden city whose walls gleamed brighter than the sun, the very same city that now bears the name Thiruvananthapuram. For thousands of years, this has been called the Golden Temple, not just for its treasures but for the light of devotion that never fades. The story of its creation is wrapped in legend. It is said that the sage Vilvamangalam once prayed for a vision of Lord Vishnu. The Lord appeared before him as a playful child. The sage welcomed the boy and served him lovingly, until one day the child vanished into a tree, revealing himself as the divine Vishnu. The sage fell to his knees and begged for forgiveness. Before him lay the immense form of the Lord, stretching for miles across the land, his head at one village, his feet at another. The sage pleaded that the Lord appear in a form he could worship. Vishnu agreed and shrank himself to a form 3 times the length of the sage's staff. That very form became the idol that lies in the temple today. The place where he appeared was once a forest called Anantankadu, the endless grove. Today it is Thiruvananthapuram, the city of the infinite. Even now, the small shrine of Anantankadu Nagaraja stands near the temple, marking the sacred spot where the Lord revealed himself. Centuries later, kings built walls, towers, and sanctums around this holy ground. Artisans carved the platform where the deity rests from a single slab of granite, a marvel known as the Ottakal Mandapam. Everything about this temple is a mystery of precision. Stones that fit together without mortar, carvings that tell the stories of the cosmos, and corridors that echo like music halls when you walk through them. For the people of Kerala, this temple is not just stone and gold, it is a living heartbeat. Its festivals light up the night with 100,000 oil lamps. Its chants rise like waves across the Arabian Sea. And its silence, when the doors close at dusk, is deeper than the ocean itself. They say, if you stand quietly at night near its gates, you can feel the ground hum softly beneath your feet, as if the God who sleeps within is dreaming still. Dreaming of worlds without end, of time before creation, and of the faithful who guard his secret even now. This is the beginning of the mystery. But what lies beneath, the vaults, the curses, and the unimaginable wealth, is a story that defies belief. A story that still waits, locked in darkness. Thank you for joining us on this journey. For centuries, the Padmanabhaswamy Temple stood in silence, guarding a secret that few dared to whisper. Beneath its sacred floors lay 6 underground vaults, sealed with iron doors, marked only by letters A to F. For generations, even the royal family of Travancore never opened them. They weren't treasures to be counted. They were offerings to God. But one vault was different. Vault B, known among the priests as Kalara B, or the Mahabharata Kalara, the Forbidden Chamber. Legends say it was sealed over 100 years ago with ancient mantras that no one alive today can recite. A serpent is carved into the stone near its entrance, a stark warning to those who dream of gold. The priests say that within it, deities, sages, and Naga spirits still guard the Lord in their invisible forms. Disturb them and you disturb the balance of the entire divine world. The earliest records show that this temple held unimaginable wealth even 2,000 years ago. Travelers from the Roman Empire, from Mesopotamia, and from far-off lands wrote of a golden city by the sea. Traders offered gold coins, crowns, and idols in gratitude for safe voyages. Over time, the temple became the safest treasury in India. Because what king would ever dare to rob his own god? Then, in the year 2011, the world finally learned what was hidden under those granite floors. After a legal petition reached the Supreme Court of India, an order was issued. The vaults of the temple would be opened, not for greed, but for record and preservation. A team of government officials, archaeologists, and observers entered the temple, their flashlights cutting through the ancient darkness. When the locks of Vault A were broken open, they were greeted not by dust, but by a blinding sea of gold. Inside lay heaps of ornaments, necklaces longer than a man, chains as thick as arms, solid gold idols, crowns, weapons, and coins from forgotten dynasties. There were thrones of gold, diamond-studded necklaces, and emeralds the size of a grown man's fist. The air itself smelled heavy, of metal and of time. One chest alone contained hundreds of thousands of gold coins, some from the Roman Empire, minted nearly 2 millennia ago. Another room held a golden idol of Vishnu, 6 feet long, studded with gems so bright that torchlight reflected like fire. The estimated value? More than 1 trillion rupees. Enough to change the fate of an entire nation. But when the team approached Vault B, something changed. The priests hesitated. They warned the officials that this vault was sacred, sealed not by locks but by powerful mantras. No mortal, they said, could open it without divine permission. Inside dwelled the temple's guardian spirits, the Naga Devatas. Breaking it open could bring catastrophe, the officials insisted. But as they tried to touch the door, the air turned still. It was said that hundreds of snakes suddenly appeared from the cracks in the floor, and the men fled in terror. The attempt was abandoned. And since that day, Vault B has remained sealed. Some believe the legend was just a story, exaggerated to protect the treasure. But strange incidents continued to occur. Those who pressed to open the vault later fell ill or died unexpectedly. The lawyer who initiated the case, T.P. Sundararajan, passed away suddenly just days after the first vaults were opened. For believers, this was no coincidence, it was a warning. According to old scriptures, the Padmanabhaswamy Temple is protected by a divine energy called Padmanabha Shakti. It's said that mantras were performed centuries ago to bind powerful forces within that sealed chamber, spirits who guard not just wealth, but the spiritual balance of the land. Disturbing them could unleash chaos, disease, or war. The local priests performed a devaprasnam, a sacred astrological ritual to ask the deity's will. The result was clear. The gods do not want Vault B opened. They called it a forbidden zone. Even today the priests repeat the same warning. Those who open the vault will invite destruction. Historians who studied the temple say the true mystery may not be supernatural at all, but symbolic. Vault B could contain not only treasure but ancient documents, treaties, temple records, or sacred relics from the lost dynasties of South India. It might hold the keys to the true history of Kerala, hidden for thousands of years. But no one knows for sure because no one dares to enter. What we do know is that the wealth already revealed in the other vaults makes this the richest place of worship on earth. Even without Vault B, its value surpasses that of any palace, museum, or monarchy. And yet, the temple's caretakers insist, all of this belongs to Padmanabhaswamy, not to us, not to the government, not to any man. The royal family of Travancore continues their ancient vow. Each morning, the present Maharaja walks barefoot into the temple, head bowed, whispering, Padmanabhadasa, servant of the Lord. He rules nothing, owns nothing, commands nothing, yet in his humility he carries a power older than kingdoms. Outside, the people still talk about the midnight hour. Some say that on certain nights the sound of bells echoes from beneath the ground, as if unseen priests were still performing rituals below. Others claim to have seen a faint golden glow seeping from the cracks near Vault B when the moon is full. The temple guards dismiss it as imagination. But the locals smile and say softly, the Lord still watches his treasure. In recent years, the Supreme Court returned control of the temple to the royal family, recognizing their unbroken bond with the deity. Since then, Vault B remains untouched. Its iron doors, sealed with the serpent emblem, have not moved, and perhaps that is how it is meant to be. Because some mysteries are not meant to be solved, they are meant to be worshipped. So, what truly lies behind that forbidden door? Is it treasure beyond measure, or a secret too powerful for human hands? No one knows, and perhaps no one ever will. Yet, the legend continues to grow. Each year, pilgrims bow before the temple and whisper prayers of protection. Children hear stories of cobras guarding the gold, and scholars still debate whether the curse of Vault B is myth or truth. But one thing is certain, the flame of mystery still burns bright beneath those ancient stones. And as long as the Lord sleeps within, the vault will remain closed, until the day He Himself commands it to open. Because in this temple, it is not man, but God, who decides what must remain hidden. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey. If you were as captivated by this mystery as I was, they say, when you walk through the eastern gate of the Padmanabhaswamy Temple after sunset, the wind carries whispers, voices that seem older than time. Some call them echoes of the priests who once guarded the vaults. Others say it is the Lord Himself murmuring through the stones, watching over His treasure. For centuries, strange things have happened around this temple, things science cannot explain. The people of Thiruvananthapuram do not speak of them loudly, but every family here has a story. One of the oldest legends tells of Padmanabhan Thampi, a rebel noble from the 18th century who tried to loot the temple. With hundreds of armed men, he marched toward the shrine. But as they reached the gates, the skies darkened without warning. Lightning struck the flagpole. Thunder roared like drums of war. And from the shadows of the sanctum, hundreds of cobras appeared, coiling around the steps. The men fled in terror. Thampi himself vanished that night, never to be seen again. Since then, locals say, no thief has ever dared approach the temple after dark. Another tale speaks of a foreign adventurer in the 1900s who heard rumors of a secret gold chamber under the temple pond. He hired divers and waited till midnight to explore. The divers entered the water, but none returned. The next morning the pond surface was calm, except for a faint golden shimmer, like coins glinting just beneath the surface. No one ever tried again. These stories may sound like folklore, But what makes them powerful is faith. To the devotees, this temple is not a monument, it's alive. Every ritual, every prayer, every sound of the conch is part of a rhythm that protects the city itself. When the Arat festival ends, the idols of Padmanabhaswamy, Narasimha and Krishna are carried to the sea. The Maharaja himself walks barefoot before them, leading the way. As the idols are bathed in the waves, thousands of lamps are lit on the shore. It is said that as long as this ceremony continues unbroken, the kingdom will be safe. But when rituals are broken, the people believe misfortune follows. Once, during a renovation, a small golden tile from the temple roof fell and shattered. That very year, floods struck parts of Kerala that had not seen rain in decades. Coincidence or a divine warning? To the faithful, there is no doubt. In 2011, when the government team first opened the vaults, the senior priests warned them. Perform the prayers first. Ask permission. Some officials refused. Within months, several strange incidents occurred. 2 members of the investigation fell seriously ill. A security officer met with a fatal accident. Even T.P. Sundararajan, the man who filed the petition to open the vaults, died suddenly before the inventory was complete. For the people, these were not random tragedies. They were the voice of the deity, reminding mankind of its limits. But amid the stories of curses, there are also miracles, quiet, gentle, undeniable. Once, in the late 20th century, a massive fire broke out in the area surrounding the temple. Flames leapt through houses, and the wind carried sparks toward the temple walls. Panic spread, until a sudden gust of wind changed direction. Rain began to fall, not over the city but only over the temple grounds. The fire stopped. The next morning, not a single mark of smoke was found on the ancient granite. The people called it Padmanabha's rain. There's another story told by the temple's old flower seller. He had been offering jasmine garlands for over 40 years. One evening, during a cyclone, he forgot to remove the lamps from the altar. Terrified, he rushed back in the storm to relight them. He slipped and fell, calling out the Lord's name. In that instant, lightning struck the nearby banyan tree. But the flame of the lamp inside the sanctum never went out. He wept, believing the Lord himself had protected his life. Even science bows before this mystery. The temple's great flagpole, made entirely of gold, has withstood centuries of storms and lightning strikes, yet it has never once been damaged. Engineers who inspected it found that its composition somehow disperses electricity naturally, a design unknown in any other ancient structure. How did craftsmen of the 1500s know this? No one can answer. Inside the temple corridors, 365 carved pillars create a perfect echo, one for each day of the year. When a single bell rings, the sound travels through the stone like waves of music. Some say the design mirrors the vibration of the sacred syllable Om. Others say it was built to resonate with the sleeping god's breath. Whatever the reason, even scientists admit the acoustics are beyond ordinary understanding. But perhaps the greatest miracle of all is the temple's wealth itself. For centuries, the treasure remained untouched. No thief, no invader, no war could claim it. While kingdoms rose and fell, empires vanished, and colonizers looted the land, this temple remained untouchable. Its secret guarded not by armies, but by faith. The royal family believes this protection is not by chance. When Martanda Varma surrendered his throne to the deity, he made a vow. As long as the Lord's name is spoken in this land, the people of Travancore will never be destroyed. Through floods, famines, and wars, that promise has held true. Even during the British era, when many rulers lost power, the Travancore kings remained, protected it seems by something beyond politics. Today, millions visit the temple every year. Most will never see the treasure or the forbidden vault, but they come for something greater. Peace. When you stand before the golden doors, time seems to pause. The scent of camphor fills the air. The priests chant softly, their voices rising like waves in the ocean of devotion. And for a brief moment, you feel what generations before you have felt. The sense that you are standing not just in a temple, but on the threshold between worlds. Every legend, every curse, every miracle, they all lead to one truth. This temple is alive. It breathes through its rituals, it remembers its devotees, and it guards its secrets like a living being. Even the skeptics who come here to seek proof leave in silence. Because some mysteries are not meant to be solved by logic. They are meant to be felt, like faith itself. The temple still stands, its flame never fading. And beneath its stone floors, Vault B still sleeps, untouched, unbroken, and waiting. Some say it will open again, not by human hands, but by divine will, on a night when the world is ready to see what it truly holds. Until then, the Lord sleeps, and his city sleeps with him. The eternal guardian of Kerala watches through the darkness, keeping his promise that as long as his name is remembered, the flame will never die. When you step inside the Padmanabhaswamy Temple, the first thing you feel isn't the gold, it's the weight of a promise. A promise made nearly 3 centuries ago, one that still binds an entire royal bloodline. In the early 1700s, this land, now known as Kerala, was a fractured place. Chieftains battled for power, and kingdoms could rise and fall in the blink of an eye. Amidst this chaos stood a young, ambitious ruler of the Venad kingdom, Anizam Tirunal Martanda Varma. He was known for being brilliant, brave, and utterly ruthless in war, but he was also a man of deep faith. Every night he would kneel before the idol of his deity, Padmanabhaswamy, not praying for victory, but for guidance. Then, in 1731, something shifted. The king announced a grand ceremony, one that would completely alter the course of history. Before the sacred idol, surrounded by priests, flickering fire, and ancient chants, he laid his sword at the deity's feet and spoke words that would echo through centuries. "This kingdom does not belong to me. From this day, it belongs to Sri Padmanabha. I am but his servant." In that single powerful moment, the king became the Padmanabha Dasa, the servant of God. And just like that, the kingdom of Travancore ceased to be just a mortal realm. It was transformed into a divine trust, a land ruled in the name of the sleeping Lord Vishnu. This wasn't just symbolic. Every royal decree issued from that day forward began not with "by order of the king," but with "by the grace of Padmanabhaswamy." Every coin minted bore the deity's sacred symbols. Every battle was fought under his divine protection, and every single ruler who followed, for generations, took the very same vow, to protect the temple above all else, even if it cost them their throne or their very life. This profound oath had a transformative effect. While neighboring lands were torn apart by conquest and greed, Travancore prospered under a unique kind of leadership. The kings saw themselves as administrators of God's estate, not its owners. Taxes were reframed as offerings to Padmanabha. The royal emblem itself depicted Vishnu reclining on the serpent Ananta, a powerful symbol of eternal guardianship. When famine struck, the royal family didn't hesitate to open their treasuries for the poor. When invaders threatened the coast, the king's army marched under flags marked not with crowns, but with the Lord's conch and chakra. Even the British, when they arrived, recognized something fundamentally different about this place. They saw a land ruled not by ego, but by an unwavering faith. This vow is physically embedded in the palace itself. Just behind the temple's main sanctum stands the Kulasekara Mandapam, a beautiful marble-floored hall. It's here that the royal family still gathers to sign every major decision. Before any signature is put to paper, they light a lamp to Padmanabha and read aloud a declaration. "In the name of the Lord who owns this land." Over the centuries, the Travancore royals became symbols of humility. Unlike other dynasties that built towering statues of themselves, they focused on building schools, hospitals, and art academies, all in the Lord's name. The walls of their palace aren't adorned with portraits of kings, but with intricate murals depicting Vishnu's 10 avatars. Even today, this tradition of service continues. The current titular Maharaja, Mulam Tirunal Ramavarma, enters the temple barefoot, without any jewelry or royal guards. When he prostrates himself on the sacred stone platform, the Otakal Mandapam, he is symbolically surrendering everything he owns, just as his ancestor did 300 years ago. Although he no longer holds political power, his role as Padmanabha Dasa still binds him irrevocably to the temple. He oversees its daily rituals, its grand festivals, and its charitable trusts, not as a ruler but as a dedicated caretaker. This sacred bond between the deity and the dynasty is so profound that even the Supreme Court of India, in a landmark 2020 ruling, upheld it. The court recognized that the family's role was not one of ownership, but of pure, selfless devotion, and affirmed that the temple should remain under their guardianship. Every year during the Lakshadipam festival, a truly magical event unfolds. The Maharaja himself lights the very first of 100,000 lamps. As the entire temple complex begins to glow like a galaxy brought down to earth, the air fills with the powerful chant of the people, "Sri Padmanabhaswamy Ki Jai." In that moment, it's as if centuries of faith are burning bright all at once. It's not just the light of oil lamps. It's the light of continuity. The oath is alive. Outside the temple walls, modern life rushes on. Cars honk, neon lights flicker, and phones ring incessantly. But inside, time seems to stand still. The rituals performed today are the very same ones from the 1700s. The same mantras are chanted, the same conch shells are blown, and the same magnificent golden doors close at dusk. For historians, this is priceless heritage. For the faithful, it is a glimpse of eternity. Even the youngest members of the royal family are taught one fundamental lesson above all others: that power without humility is a curse, but service to a higher purpose is true freedom. They grow up knowing they are not heirs to a kingdom, but guardians of a sacred promise. And perhaps that is the true hidden treasure of the Padmanabhaswamy Temple. It's not the unimaginable wealth rumored to be in its vaults, nor the mystery of its unopened doors. The real miracle is this unbroken line of devotion that has outlasted empires, revolutions, and time itself. Every night, as the final temple bells toll and the great doors are sealed, a royal guard whispers the same prayer that has been spoken for 300 years. May Padmanabha protect this land. May his servants never forget their vow. And somewhere in the silent, sacred darkness, the sleeping Lord listens, wrapped in eternal serenity, while his loyal servants keep watch, generation after generation. Because here in Thiruvananthapuram, kingdoms may fall and empires may fade, but the oath to Padmanabhaswamy, that is eternal. Beneath the golden gopuram of the Padmanabhaswamy Temple lies something far more profound than just treasure. It holds a world of ancient technology, of geometry, acoustics, and engineering that continues to baffle modern science. When the first rays of dawn strike the temple tower, every single shadow falls perfectly along the eastern axis. There was no compass, no computer, only a level of precision that is almost beyond our imagination. Architects today still marvel at how the builders, over 400 years ago, aligned the sanctum with the rising sun on the equinox. For exactly 3 minutes each year, the face of the Lord is illuminated by this celestial event. This isn't a coincidence. It is sacred design. The Padmanabhaswamy Temple itself is a stunning fusion of two architectural worlds: the delicate wood and laterite style of Kerala, and the towering Dravidian stonecraft of Tamil Nadu. Every beam, every pillar was placed according to ancient texts known as the Vastu Shastra and the Silpa Shastra. These weren't just building manuals. They were spiritual equations, formulas for harmonizing structure with the cosmos. Just take the Great Corridor, for example. It is lined with 365 1/4 pillars of intricately carved granite, one for every day of the year, plus an extra for the leap day. When a conch shell is blown at the entrance, the sound travels down the entire hall, echoing exactly 7 times. Not a single modern architect has been able to replicate that acoustic perfection. Each of these pillars is engraved with mathematical symbols, Vedic motifs, and what appear to be hidden passages that guide the energy of both sound and light. It's said that the very design of this corridor was based on the shape of the celestial serpent, Ananta, so that the Lord literally rests on waves of vibration. Even the floor beneath your feet is alive with science. The slabs under the main sanctum are made of a special alloy containing iron, zinc, and rare minerals that actively resist humidity and earthquakes. Researchers from the Archaeological Survey of India were astonished to find that the temperature inside the sanctum remains constant throughout the year, around 23 degrees Celsius, no matter how blistering the heat is outside. How is this possible? There are no ventilation shafts, no modern cooling systems. There is only geometry. The ceiling above the idol is a masterclass in ancient engineering. It's a triple-layered dome with a hollow core, which acts as a natural air coolant and a powerful sound resonator. When the priests chant inside, their voices vibrate through this cavity and resonate back towards the idol, as if the Lord himself is answering their prayers. And then there's the Ottakal Mandapam, a massive slab of stone weighing more than 100 tons, cut from a single rock miles away. It was transported and placed with absolute precision without the use of cranes or even wheels. Historians are still scratching their heads, wondering how they did it. Local legends, however, offer a simpler explanation. The stone walked to the temple when Lord Padmanabha himself called for it. The idol itself is a masterpiece of ancient alchemy. It's not made of metal or stone alone, but from a secret substance called Katusarkara Yogam. This is a complex mixture of 108 different herbal ingredients, gold powder, camphor, and natural resins that combine to form a self-preserving organic compound. This unique coating has kept the idol pristine for centuries, protecting it from decay and fungus. To this day, no modern laboratory has been able to accurately replicate its formula. But beneath all this grace lies a labyrinth of engineering. Scholars believe that a network of tunnels and ventilation shafts runs under the temple, possibly even connecting to the sea. Some speculate they were built as escape routes for the royal family during times of war. Others hold a more mystical belief. They were created to allow the gods themselves to travel between the earth and the ocean. Divers who have explored the temple's sacred tank, the Padma Tirtham, have reported seeing sealed stone passages beneath the water. But no one has ever been allowed to open them. Now, look up at the flagstaff, a solid gold pillar soaring 80 feet high. It has survived centuries of relentless lightning strikes without a single scratch. When scientists analyzed its composition, they discovered it acts as a perfect natural lightning conductor. The ancients had essentially crafted a divine Faraday cage, centuries before Michael Faraday was even born. Every corner of this temple reveals more secrets the closer you look. The sculptures of Garuda and Hanuman are not randomly placed. They are positioned precisely to balance the magnetic fields between the different shrines. When measured with modern instruments, the temple grounds show an unusually high positive ion charge, an environment believed to enhance concentration and spiritual calm. Even the lamps that illuminate the temple burn with a unique mixture of ghee and herbal oil, producing minimal smoke and absolutely no soot. Some of these flames have been kept alive for decades, fed daily by priests who believe they represent the Lord's eternal, unceasing energy. Architects who have studied the temple's layout say its entire structure is a map of the human body. The entrance represents the feet, the long corridors are the veins, and the central sanctum is the heart, where the Lord rests in eternal sleep on the serpent of consciousness. When priests circle the idol during puja, their movement symbolizes the flow of life force around the cosmic soul. And perhaps this is why the temple feels so intensely alive. It wasn't just built to house a deity, it was designed to mirror creation itself. Even today, when you stand before its massive doors and hear the bells ring out at dusk, you feel something that goes beyond mere faith. You feel a pulse, a heartbeat echoing through stone and time. It's a powerful reminder that this temple was never just built by human hands. It was manifested through devotion, precision, and profound mystery. So maybe that's the real secret of the Padmanabhaswamy Temple. It isn't the fabulous treasures that might lie locked away in its vaults, but the incredible knowledge that's hidden within its very walls. A perfect fusion of art, science, and spirit that is so complete, it seems to transcend time itself. Even the Lord, sleeping on his serpent throne, seems to smile through the darkness, as if he knows that one day, humanity will finally understand what he has been teaching all along, that faith and knowledge are not opposites. They are, and always have been, the very same light. It's midnight in Thiruvananthapuram. The streets are still and the sea breeze carries the faint scent of jasmine. Within the towering walls of the Padmanabhaswamy Temple, the world seems to hold its breath. The priests say that at this hour the Lord himself awakens, not in motion but in sheer presence. For centuries, locals have whispered about a strange phenomenon. They say that every few months, on certain nights, the sealed inner doors of the temple shift, ever so slightly. A faint metallic vibration echoes through the stone corridors. Oil lamps flicker, even though no wind can pass through. And sometimes, the great doors of the sanctum move. Not fully open, just enough for a soft golden light to spill across the floor before vanishing into silence again. No one is allowed inside after dusk. Not even the royal family. The temple is sealed with rituals known as Nada Thurapu and Nada Adaipu, invocations that lock the divine energy for the night. Once the final bell rings and the conch shell fades, the temple is believed to enter Yoga Nidra, the divine sleep of the deity. Yet, stories passed down through generations of temple guards tell a different tale. One guard, now long retired, recalled a night back in the 1970s. It was well past midnight when he heard chanting from inside, deep, rhythmic, and ancient. He thought the priests had somehow returned, but when he checked, the main doors were still locked from the outside. The sound continued for several minutes, Vedic hymns sung in a language that even he, a devout man, could not understand. When the temple opened at dawn, a faint, sweet fragrance of lotus filled the air, though no such flowers had been offered the previous evening. Another account comes from 1993. Workers, repairing the temple roof late into the night, claimed to see faint blue flames rising from the central dome, dancing in a spiral like a swarm of fireflies. The next morning, priests found the sanctum unusually warm, as if a great surge of energy had passed through it. There were no signs of fire, no smoke, no damage, just a lingering hum in the air. Locals began calling it Padmanabha's breath. Some say it's the Lord exhaling creation itself while he dreams in his eternal sleep. And then there are the tales of the Forbidden Vault. Kallara B priests have long warned that this vault is protected not by physical locks, but by a Naga Bandham, an ancient mantra-based seal guarded by serpentine energy. They say no human hand can open it without permission from the divine realm. In 2011, when officials considered unsealing the vault, a group of traditional astrologers conducted a Devaprasnam, a sacred ritual to ask the deity for consent. What they discovered sent chills through everyone present. The sacred symbols revealed that the vault was home to celestial beings, and that disturbing it would unleash forces far beyond human comprehension. The leader of the ritual reportedly said, "This is not treasure. It is energy, locked away for the protection of mankind." Since that day, no one has dared to touch it again. But the whispers continue. On moonless nights, guards claim to hear a low hum, like thousands of conch shells echoing from deep underground. Sometimes they say the marble floor beneath their feet feels alive, as if it's breathing. Even scientists who installed vibration sensors nearby in the early 2000s recorded strange readings, unexplained spikes in electromagnetic energy between midnight and 2 a.m. The readings were officially dismissed as environmental interference, but the locals believe they know better. They believe the temple itself is awake at night. During the Lakshadipam festival, when 100,000 lamps burn together, the energy within the temple is said to be so intense that compasses nearby stop working. People who attend say you can feel the vibration in your chest, as if your heartbeat is syncing with something ancient and infinite. On rare occasions, just before dawn, devotees waiting outside the gates claim to hear a sound from within, not of bells or chants, but of water flowing softly, as though an unseen river is passing right beneath the sanctum. Some believe it's the subterranean Padma Tirtham, a spiritual current connecting the temple to the sea. Others say it's symbolic, the river of time itself, washing through the chambers of eternity. But the most haunting story is one that few dare to tell. An old priest once said that the temple will open by itself when the end of an age draws near. Not through violence or greed, but when humanity is finally ready to see beyond material wealth and into absolute truth. On that day the doors will part, and the treasure within will reveal not gold, but knowledge, the wisdom of the cosmos, the key to understanding the cycle of creation itself. Until that day, the doors remain closed. The vault sleeps, the Lord sleeps, and yet, the temple breathes every night, reminding us that divinity is not silent. It simply speaks in frequencies too sacred for human ears to hear. So, if you ever find yourself walking past the Padmanabhaswamy Temple at midnight, listen closely. You might just hear the rustle of robes from another world, the whisper of chants that have no beginning and no end, and perhaps the soft echo of a door that moves without a touch, reminding us that there are still places on this earth where mystery reigns, and faith commands the very laws of nature. Deep beneath the granite floors of the Padmanabhaswamy Temple, behind walls that have never seen sunlight, lie 6 ancient vaults, each with a story older than kingdoms. They are called Kallaras, the chambers of the gods. And among them, one name has haunted historians and treasure hunters for decades: Vault B, the Forbidden Vault. When the world first heard of it in 2011, everything changed. The Supreme Court of India ordered a full inventory of the temple's assets, not knowing that they were about to uncover the greatest treasure ever recorded in human history. As the first 5 vaults, A to F, were carefully opened, the world held its breath. Priests chanted, conch shells blew, and torches flickered against the gold-lined walls. What they found inside was beyond imagination. Solid gold idols of Vishnu, each taller than a child. Crowns encrusted with diamonds larger than a man's thumb. Necklaces of emeralds, rubies, and sapphires that once adorned kings long forgotten. Gold coins from the Roman Empire. Persian daggers inlaid with jade. And the ancient crowns of the Cheras, Pandyas, and Cholas, all sleeping together under the same roof. A single chamber held sacks of coins weighing hundreds of kilos. Another, an 18-foot golden chain said to have been offered by an emperor from beyond the seas. When experts tried to estimate its worth, the number was so vast it lost all meaning. More than $20 billion. And that was only a surface valuation of its material worth. The historical and cultural value? Priceless. But one vault remained untouched. Vault B. Its heavy iron door, carved with serpents and divine symbols, was sealed not by human locks, but by mantra. Legends say it is protected by a Naga Bandham, a mystical seal of serpentine energy that will awaken if disturbed. When the team tried to approach it, the priests refused. They were adamant. This was not a place for mortals to tread. Astrologers performed a Deva Prasnam, a sacred ritual to ask the deity's will. The answer was chilling. Do not open Vault B, beneath it sleeps a power that must never be touched. From that moment, Vault B became known as the Forbidden Zone. What could possibly be inside that warrants such a dire warning? Some say the vault is not a chamber at all, but a gateway, a portal to the subterranean realm of the Nagas, the mythical serpent beings. Others whisper that it holds the true Sri Chakra, the cosmic diagram of creation itself, sealed there by sages thousands of years ago, to protect humanity from its own greed. And then there are the stories, unverified but unshakable parts of local lore. Tales of a mason in the early 1900s who pressed his ear against the door and heard a terrifying, overwhelming hissing from within. A British officer who scoffed at the warnings and ordered it opened, only to die mysteriously the very next day. And a team in 1931 who reportedly fled in terror after seeing hundreds of cobras emerge from the darkness when they attempted to breach the seal. Even today, no one knows what truly lies beyond that door. What we do know is this. Every attempt to measure or disturb it has been met with strange, unexplainable phenomena. Compass needles spinning wildly, modern cameras and electronic equipment failing without cause, and a low, persistent vibration that some have described as feeling like the heartbeat of the earth itself. So, Vault B stands silent, its presence both a blessing and a warning. It reminds us that while wealth can build empires, it is reverence that preserves them. Because the true treasure of Padmanabhaswamy is not the gold, it is the unwavering discipline of faith, a kingdom that refused to spend its riches, choosing instead to guard them for the deity they belong to. When people asked why the Travancore royal family wouldn't simply claim the mind-boggling wealth, the late Uthradam Thirunal Marthandavarma answered with a simple, profound statement. How can a servant own what belongs to his lord? And perhaps that is why the treasure remains safe to this day. Because it is not protected by vaults, locks, or laws, but by pure, unshakable devotion. Even now, as part of a daily ritual, priests light a lamp before the sealed door each evening and whisper a prayer. May those who seek only gold see darkness, and those who seek light find wisdom. The story of Vault B is a mirror for humanity. It shows us that curiosity can awaken wonder, but it can also awaken destruction. Some mysteries, it seems, are not meant to be solved. At least not yet. So the door remains closed, the serpents carved upon it still coiled in an eternal silent watch, and the world continues to wonder, what sleeps behind that final gate? Perhaps one day, when humanity finally learns to seek truth over treasure, the vault will open on its own, not to reveal gold, but to reveal grace. When the treasure of Padmanabhaswamy Temple was revealed to the world, it became more than just a discovery. It became a profound question. Who truly owns the wealth of a god? The state? The people? Or the deity himself? For nearly a decade, this question echoed through the hallowed halls of India's highest courts, challenging the very line between faith and law. In 2011, the Kerala High Court delivered a stunning ruling. The state should take control of the temple and its immense assets. For the first time in centuries, the royal family of Travancore faced the possibility of losing their sacred duty. But they didn't fight for power or for riches. They fought for something far more profound, their faith. Standing before the Supreme Court, Mulam Thirunal Ramavarma, the current titular Maharaja, spoke words that would resonate across the nation. We are not rulers, he said softly. We are servants. This temple belongs to Padmanabha alone. In that moment, the courtroom fell silent. It became clear to everyone present, even the judges, that this was not a simple case of law. It was a case of pure, unwavering devotion. For 9 long years, the investigations continued. Auditors, committees, and scholars descended upon the temple, attempting to account for every single coin, every ancient idol, every inch of the sacred grounds. But the more they counted, the more they realized the treasure was simply immeasurable, its value extending far beyond any monetary figure. The mystery of the temple only deepened. Then, on July 13, 2020, the final verdict came. The Supreme Court of India delivered a judgment that would make history. They declared, the Padmanabhaswamy Temple shall remain under the control of the Travancore royal family. They shall administer it as Padmanabha Dasas, servants of the Lord. The news spread across India like a divine whisper. Devotees wept with joy, temple bells rang out in celebration, and the royal family bowed before the sanctum, offering flowers and tears of gratitude. The court had done something unprecedented. It acknowledged that the temple wasn't just an institution, but a living entity, with the deity as its legal owner. For the first time in modern history, a god was recognized as a person in the eyes of the law. Since that historic day, the temple has become a powerful symbol of balance, a bridge between ancient faith and modern governance, between sacred ritual and transparent administration. A new administrative committee was formed, comprising a district judge, the head priest, and representatives chosen by both the royal family and the government. Every decision is now meticulously recorded, every ritual carefully preserved. And yet, amid all the ledgers and legal frameworks, something incredibly beautiful has survived. Humility. Each morning, long before the sun rises, a representative of the royal family arrives at the temple. Barefoot and clad in a simple white dhoti, he doesn't sit on a throne or command attention. Instead, he takes a broom and sweeps the floor of the temple courtyard. This ancient ritual, known as Padmanabhaswamy, serves as a powerful reminder to the world that those who serve God must first serve His home. Outside, tourists gaze in awe at the towering Gopuram, its golden silhouette shimmering in the warm Kerala sun. Inside, the priests move like shadows, their voices filling the air with ancient, hypnotic hymns. The world may call it a temple, but for the people of Thiruvananthapuram, it is something much more. It is their city's heartbeat. It is living proof that faith and law can not only coexist, but thrive when humility guides them both. And what of Vault B, the chamber that remains sealed? The royal family has promised never to disturb it, not out of fear, but out of profound respect. They believe that the greatest treasure of Padmanabhaswamy is not hidden in its stone depths, but is found in the hearts of those who worship with purity and devotion. In a world obsessed with ownership and possession, this temple stands as a testament to a different kind of wealth. It reminds us that true wealth isn't what you own, it's what you protect. Perhaps that's why Lord Padmanabhaswamy seems to defy time itself. He still rests on his serpent throne, eyes closed, a gentle smile gracing his lips in eternal peace. He knows his devotees are still keeping their sacred promise. The gold may shine, but it is faith that glows forever. As the sun sets over the serene Padma Tirtham tank and the evening bells echo through the streets, one truth resonates through the ages. The temple of Padmanabhaswamy is not just a place of worship, it is the very soul of a civilization. A living bridge connecting humanity to the divine, the known to the unfathomable. Long before kingdoms rose, before even the first temple stone was laid, there was only water. Endless, eternal, infinite. From that ocean of nothingness, a sound emerged, a vibration so pure that it became the first heartbeat of creation. And upon that cosmic ocean lay the Eternal One, Lord Vishnu, reclining upon the serpent Anantashesha, the endless coil of time itself. This is where the story of Padmanabhaswamy truly begins. In Sanskrit, Padmanabha means the one with a lotus in his navel. From that lotus arose Lord Brahma, the creator, and through him, all worlds, all lives, and all destinies. The temple in Thiruvananthapuram is not just an offering to this form of Vishnu. It is a mirror of the universe itself. When you stand before the deity, you don't just see God sleeping on a serpent. You see the rhythm of existence, creation, preservation, and dissolution, all in one eternal breath. The great idol of Sri Padmanabhaswamy stretches across three sanctums: the head, the body, and the feet. Devotees must move through three separate doors to see him completely. Each doorway represents a realm: the past, the present, and the future. Those who see all three are said to witness Ananta, the endless reality where time itself bows down. The serpent on which Vishnu reclines, Anantashesha, is not a creature but a cosmic force. His 1,000 hoods represent infinite consciousness. His coiled form signifies the endless cycles of the universe. Every breath of Ananta births a universe, and every pause ends it. It is said that beneath the Padmanabhaswamy Temple lies a vast network of tunnels, some leading to the sea, others to places unknown. Local legends whisper that these tunnels are the coils of Ananta himself, guarding the temple and all who live under its grace. When the temple priests perform the Pushpanjali rituals, they bow before the deity's reclining form, a reminder that even gods rest upon time. And yet, time rests upon faith. But who brought Vishnu here? According to legend, it was the sage Vilvamangalam Swamiyar, a mystic so pure that even the gods appeared before him. One day, while meditating in the northern forests, he met a divine boy, radiant, playful, and mysterious. The sage, sensing the boy's divine nature, asked him to stay. The boy agreed on one condition, that he would be treated with respect, always. If the sage ever scolded him, he would disappear forever. Days passed. The boy played pranks, sang hymns, and filled the forest with laughter. But one day, he broke the idol that the sage was worshipping. Angered, the sage raised his voice, and instantly the boy vanished. Realizing his mistake, the sage cried out in repentance. A divine voice echoed from the heavens. "If you wish to see me again, come to the forest of Ananthankadu." The sage searched for days until he found the place, a grove filled with the fragrance of sandalwood and the hum of unseen energy. There he saw the boy merging into a huge ilupa tree. The tree fell, and from its trunk emerged the colossal form of Ananta Padmanabha, spanning miles across the land. His head rested near Thiruvattar in Tamil Nadu, his body stretched across Thiruvananthapuram, and his feet reached Tripadapuram, over 8 miles away. The sage begged the Lord to reduce his form so he could worship him fully. The Lord smiled and shrank, curling into the form that rests in the temple today, sleeping upon the coils of Ananta. The sage offered simple rice and salted mangoes, and to this day, priests still offer the same humble meal each morning, a tribute to the devotion that first awakened the divine. When the Travancore kings later built the great temple around him, they did not crown themselves rulers. They declared themselves Padmanabhadasas, servants of the eternal Lord. The deity became not just their god, but their guardian, their ruler, their very heartbeat. And so, even today, when the royal family visits, they do not step forward with crowns. They crawl on their knees, heads bowed low, as the sound of conchis fills the air and the oil lamps flicker against his serene face. In that moment, you realize this is not just a temple. It's a living universe. Every breath of the city, every wave in the nearby sea, every bell that rings at dusk, all move to the same rhythm, the rhythm of Ananta, the rhythm of Padmanabha, the rhythm of the universe itself, where even eternity bows to the silence of the Lord who sleeps, yet watches all. When man forgets his place, time reminds him. And when time forgets its pace, Padmanabha breathes it anew. We're going beyond the gold and the legends to uncover the science behind the mystery of Padmanabhaswamy Temple. What if I told you the temple isn't just a building, but a living, breathing entity? Let's uncover the forbidden energy. At the heart of every legend lies a pulse, a vibration. And if the story of this temple has endured for over 1,000 years, it's because that vibration still beats beneath its stone floors. When scientists first examined the temple's structure, they were astonished. Every measurement, every corridor, every shrine, aligned with cosmic precision. The temple faces east, so that the first light of dawn touches the crown of Vishnu as idol through the sanctum doorway. This isn't just architecture, it's geometry made divine. Engineers exploring the walls found resonating points, spots where even a whisper echoes like a powerful chant of Om. Acousticians later discovered that these vibrations correspond to frequencies between 108 and 432 Hz, the very same spectrum ancient texts describe as the frequency of creation. In other words, the temple itself sings. Many now believe the 6 vaults beneath the sanctum aren't just treasure chambers. They might act as acoustic resonators, designed to amplify specific frequencies during rituals and mantras. Imagine this. Thousands of devotees chanting in unison. The sound waves travel through the corridors, bouncing off granite and gold, forming a standing wave that ripples through the ground. In fact, geologists who measured the seismic activity nearby noticed faint rhythmic tremors, not dangerous, but alive, like the heartbeat of the temple itself. Some physicists call this constructive resonance. Priests simply call it Padmanabha's breath. But there's more. The granite used in the temple isn't ordinary rock. It contains quartz crystals, which are natural piezoelectric materials. When exposed to pressure or vibration, these crystals generate tiny electric charges. This means that in ancient temples like this one, the chants, the bells, and the drum beats weren't just symbolic. They were literally charging the walls with measurable electromagnetic energy. Think about that for a moment. A structure where sound becomes light and devotion becomes energy. This is why every evening when the Deeparadhana is performed and hundreds of lamps are lit, the air seems to shimmer, not only from the flames but from this invisible resonance. To scientists, it's frequency physics. To devotees, it's divine presence. Perhaps they are both right. Now, let's consider the forbidden Vault B. It's hidden under meters of solid stone, sitting directly beneath the sanctum's primary vibration node, the precise point where all this acoustic energy converges. Some experts believe that opening this vault could disrupt this delicate equilibrium, like tampering with a spiritual reactor. When priests call it a zone of divine power, they may be describing what physics calls a high-density energy chamber, a sealed resonance cavity. Maybe that's why cobras are said to guard it, not as guardians of gold, but as protectors of balance. Even the sacred number, 1028, the count of beads on every prayer mala, appears everywhere in the temple as proportions. There are 108 pillars in the outer hall, 108 steps to the inner sanctum, and 108 recitations during morning prayers. In Vedic cosmology, 108 represents the distance ratio between the sun, moon, and earth, the geometry that makes eclipses possible, linking astronomy and spirituality in perfect symmetry. So, when a devotee chants Om Namo Narayana 108 times, they aren't just repeating a ritual, they are aligning themselves with the mathematics of the universe. In 2012, researchers from the Indian Institute of Science brought sensors to measure the ambient electromagnetic fields near the sanctum. They found something unusual, a consistent microcurrent that pulsed at intervals of exactly 8 seconds. This same cycle appears in deep-sea wave patterns and human brain theta rhythms during deep meditation. Is this a coincidence? Or a design meant to link our inner minds with the planet's natural frequency? As one scientist whispered after leaving, "It's as if the temple breathes in sync with the earth." The ancients might have understood something we are only just rediscovering through modern physics, that the universe is not silent. It hums, it vibrates, it sings, and when humans build in harmony with those vibrations, the result is not a monument, but a living organism made of stone and sound. The Padmanabhaswamy Temple is one such organism. Every mantra recited here doesn't just echo, it interacts with the very frequencies of existence. So perhaps the temple's greatest secret isn't its hidden treasure or its forbidden vaults, but the knowledge it encodes. That energy, matter, and consciousness are just 3 notes of the same eternal song. That's why the faithful say, "The Lord sleeps, yet his heartbeat moves the world." Because beneath the silence of Padmanabhaswamy, there is a sound older than time, the sound of creation itself, the sound of Ananta's breath. Midnight falls over Thiruvananthapuram. The city goes silent. The sound of the sea seems to fade away, and even the breeze holds its breath at the temple gates. Because this is the hour, when time itself seems to stop. For centuries, a hushed story has been passed down through generations, a tale, whispered by locals about what happens when the final bell of the day echoes through the halls, and the priests lock the sacred sanctum. They say this is when the Padmanabhaswamy Temple truly awakens. Inside the ancient inner corridors, torches are said to flicker back to life on their own. Oil lamps, left unlit, suddenly begin to glow with a soft, ethereal light. The massive bronze doors of the Sanctum Sanctorum tremble, and for just a fleeting moment, the door moves, by itself. No human hand touches it, no chain rattles. But a faint, deep vibration hums through the solid granite floor. A feeling like the breath of something ancient, stirring in its sleep. What is happening inside these sacred walls when the world outside is dark? The stories aren't just modern-day myths. Witness accounts stretch back through time. Night watchmen from the 1930s spoke of a low rhythmic hum that seemed to emanate from deep beneath the temple. Some described it as the distant sound of conchs being blown. Others called it a stone heartbeat. Then, in 1972, during major temple renovations, a group of workers swore they heard something that chilled them to the bone. They claimed that clear, haunting chants in Sanskrit were echoing from the sealed vaults, voices that seemed to come from nowhere. Terrified, they fled the site before sunrise. Every generation since has had its own witness. A guard on duty, a devotee lingering too long, or a curious scholar trying to solve the riddle. All of them swear that something divine, something powerful, moves inside those locked doors when the clock strikes 12. So, is this a ghost story? According to the temple priests, the answer is no. They explain that after the final nightly ritual, the Deepa Aradhana, the deity, Lord Padmanabha, is ceremonially laid to rest. However, they believe he never truly sleeps. Instead, his cosmic energy circulates through the temple in powerful waves, reaching its absolute peak at the stroke of midnight. They have a name for this phenomenon: Ananta Sanchara, the movement of the infinite. During this sacred time, they say the air pressure inside the sanctum fluctuates dramatically. causing the ancient heavy bronze doors to slightly shift. It is, in their words, the temple itself breathing. It's not a haunting. It's a sign of divine presence, a physical manifestation of the deity's eternal energy. Of course, modern researchers have their own theories. They point out that the temple is built atop a complex underground network of air shafts and natural resonance chambers. As the temperature drops sharply at night, the air trapped within these subterranean passages cools and contracts. This, they suggest, could create a vacuum-like pull on the structures above. The result? A faint creak, a door that appears to move, and the birth of a myth that refuses to die. It's a fascinating explanation, blending physics with architecture. But even the most skeptical scientists have to admit one thing: something very strange is going on. No scientific instrument has ever been able to successfully record the full extent of the vibrations detected inside the sanctum. Every time sensitive recording devices are placed near the infamous Vault B, they inexplicably fail. Batteries that were fully charged drain in an instant. Video footage becomes corrupted and unwatchable. Is it just a series of bizarre coincidences, or is it something more? A warning perhaps from a power that doesn't wish to be measured or understood by our technology. This leads us to the forbidden hour. Every priest and temple official knows the unbreakable rule. No one, under any circumstances, enters the inner sanctum after the final evening puja is complete. The lamps are lit and left to burn on their own until dawn. There's a belief that if any of these sacred lights extinguish before sunrise, it is a terrible omen for the land. On certain nights, especially when the powerful monsoon winds sweep in from the Arabian Sea, those who live nearby have reported seeing the temple's towering gopuram glow with a faint internal light, as if lightning were frozen inside its stone walls. During these moments, the crows vanish, dogs in the streets begin to wail, and the great bronze doors are said to tremble once more. So what are we to believe? Is it faith or is it fear? For believers, the midnight movement is a sacred event. It is the Lord Himself, turning in His divine rest, a comforting sign of His constant presence. To skeptics, it's simply nature playing tricks with metal, air, and temperature. But deep down, whether you're a believer or a skeptic, there's a shared feeling that something truly alive exists within those ancient stones. Maybe it's the incredible sound resonance of the structure designed by ancient masters. Maybe it's the accumulated echo of millions of prayers offered with devotion across millennia. Or maybe, just maybe, it's Lord Padmanabha himself, subtly reminding humanity that divinity cannot be contained behind locks and doors. There's a local saying that perfectly captures this mystery. At midnight, He breathes. At dawn, He blesses. Between the two, the world stands still. As the first golden rays of morning pierce the eastern archway, the temple doors stand silent and serene once more, motionless, solid, and untouched. But every guard who has ever kept watch through the long dark night knows the truth. No one really locks Padmanabhaswamy in. He simply allows the world to believe he rests. Deep beneath the ancient stone floors of the magnificent Padmanabhaswamy Temple in India, 6 vaults have slept for centuries, labeled A through F. 5 of these chambers have been opened, but the 6th, Vault B, remains sealed, untouched by time, a silent guardian of secrets. This isn't a vault secured by common locks or chains. It's sealed by mystery itself. Back in 2011, when the Supreme Court of India ordered an inventory of the temple's holdings, the world watched in stunned silence. As vaults A, C, D, E, and F creaked open, they revealed a treasure that defied imagination. We're talking about mountains of pure gold, diamond necklaces so long they touched the floor, and ancient coins that predated the Roman Empire. The estimated value? A staggering $1 trillion. But when the investigators reached the final door, Vault B, a chill ran through the air. The temple priests issued a stark warning. That door must never be opened. They spoke of it not as a chamber of wealth, but as a gateway, a portal designed to contain a powerful, sacred energy. What makes this particular door so formidable? According to temple lore, Vault B is guarded by divine serpent beings known as Nagas. The legends say that in times of great catastrophe, the deity Lord Padmanabha himself descends into this very chamber to protect all of creation. Etched into the heavy door are 2 majestic cobra reliefs, their piercing eyes inlaid with emeralds. Ancient scripts refer to this place as the Patala Samhita, the gateway to the underrealm. It's said that monks attempted to open it back in 1908, but as they began, an unexplainable sound erupted from within, a sound like ocean waves crashing against stone. Terrified, they sealed it and vowed never to return. Fast forward to the modern attempt in 2011. Armed with the latest technology, officials stood before Vault B once more. But something strange happened. Their metal detectors fell silent. The beams of their powerful torches flickered and died. Even their cameras, meant to document every moment, refused to record. The priests, sensing the immense power radiating from the door, quickly performed a ritual, chanting ancient mantras to pacify the forces stirring within. In the end, a decision was made that balanced science with spirituality. The door was left untouched. This leads us to the fascinating theory of the mantra lock. The ancient Garuda Purana text describes a type of spiritual seal known as a Nagabandha mantra. This isn't a physical lock, but a powerful vibrational frequency that binds the very molecular structure of the door. To open it without knowing the exact chant, the precise intonation, and the correct spiritual state could unleash a wave of destructive energy, like awakening a dormant volcano of sound. Some even whisper that the door isn't locked from the outside at all, but from within, as if whatever resides there chooses to remain sealed. So, what does modern science have to say? In 2016, advanced infrared scans were conducted. The results were baffling. They showed a metallic density beyond anything measurable. Was it more treasure, far surpassing what had already been found? Was it some kind of ancient, unknown machinery? Or was it an empty space resonating with ultrasonic frequencies that no device could decode? Scientists labeled it an acoustic anomaly. The priests, however, had a different name for it: Ananta's heart, the heartbeat of the divine serpent. Another theory suggests Vault B is positioned directly over a powerful magnetic line running through southern India, a natural energy field. Opening it could disrupt this delicate balance, perhaps even releasing toxic gases trapped for millennia. Yet another, more mystical belief is that inside rests a cosmic symbol, a Shivalinga made of pure glowing emerald, pulsing with light. The stories of a curse are just as compelling. Old Malayalam manuscripts speak of the 7 winds of Ananta. They warn that whoever disturbs the divine serpent's sleep will invite these winds, bringing earthquakes, floods, plagues, and war. This isn't just an old wives' tale. In 1880, when British officials made plans to force the vault open, a sudden inexplicable flood completely destroyed their camp. The very next morning, the order was withdrawn. Was it a mere coincidence or a direct consequence? Today, Vault B remains sealed. Its door, polished smooth by centuries of reverent touch, stands as a monument to the unknown. Tourists see only a corridor that ends in darkness. But the priests say that if you stand there in absolute silence, you can hear it. A soft, low humming sound rising from beneath the stone, the eternal chant of Om Ananta Padmanabha. Perhaps that is the real treasure, not gold or jewels, but sound. Not wealth, but wisdom, sealed in vibration. There's a saying, some doors are meant to keep us out of danger. Others are meant to keep divinity within. And so, the vault remains untouched, and the world waits in awe of a door that may never open, yet remains a powerful gateway in our imagination. Every kingdom has its crown, but in Travancore the crown belonged to God. This is the story of the Maharajas of Travancore, the kings who ruled yet never reigned. Because in their land, Padmanabhaswamy was the true monarch. In the 18th century, a young prince named Anijam Thirunal Marthandavarma ascended the throne. His reign began in blood and rebellion. Neighboring chieftains plotted against him. The kingdom stood divided, and the temple's riches were threatened by war. Marthandavarma was a warrior, but he was also a man of faith. He believed the kingdom itself existed only because Padmanabha allowed it. So, in an act never before seen in Indian history, on a January morning in 1750, the king walked barefoot into the temple's sanctum, placed his royal sword at the feet of the deity, and declared, "From this day, Travancore belongs not to me, but to Sri Padmanabhaswamy. I am only his servant, a Padmanabha Dasa." That sacred vow changed the destiny of a kingdom. Every ruler thereafter took the same title, Padmanabha Dasa, servant of the Lord. The royal emblem of Travancore carried not the king's name, but the words Sri Padmanabha Dasa. Even the royal treasury was renamed Sri Bhandaram, the wealth of the deity. From that day, every law, every coin, every victory was offered first to the temple before it reached the palace. Marthandavarma fought wars under the Lord's banner. When enemies surrounded the capital, he vowed that if the Lord granted him victory, he would reconstruct the temple in gold. He won, and he kept his word. The reconstruction of Padmanabhaswamy Temple became one of the grandest projects of South India, a fusion of Kerala and Dravidian architecture carved with celestial geometry. Every granite block, every inscription bore the name of Padmanabha. Even today, the titular king of Travancore, Mulam Thirunal Ramavarma, begins every royal decree with the words, "By the command of Lord Padmanabha." He performs rituals not as a monarch but as a servant. During the temple's great festival, Arat, he walks barefoot for miles, carrying the sword of his ancestor, the same sword once laid at the feet of Vishnu. It is a reminder that power and humility can coexist when surrendered to the divine. Unlike any other temple in the world, Padmanabhaswamy's divine property is legally recognized as belonging to the deity himself. The royal family acts only as custodians, trustees of a kingdom that technically belongs to God. Even the Supreme Court of India, in its 2020 verdict, acknowledged this sacred bond, declaring that the royal descendants would continue to serve as the temple's caretakers, as they have for centuries. Why would a king surrender his power? Because Marthandavarma understood a truth deeper than politics, that ruling through devotion lasts longer than ruling through force. Empires fall, temples remain, and so he built a kingdom not of land and gold, but of faith and surrender. Even today, in the quiet hours before dawn, when the king visits the temple, he bows, touches the granite floor, and whispers, "I am still your servant, my lord." Perhaps that is the true treasure of Padmanabhaswamy, not the gold beneath the vaults, but the humility above them. A reminder that the greatest throne is the one at the feet of God. Every legend has a story of gold, but none glitters with as much mystery as the Padmanabhaswamy Temple. When Vault A was finally opened in 2011, what officials saw inside left them utterly speechless. Before them lay literal mountains of gold coins, dazzling diamond necklaces, crowns studded with fiery rubies, and statues crafted from pure solid gold. Economists rushed to put a number on it, estimating its value at over $1 trillion. But the bigger question remained. Where did it all come from? How was such an immense fortune amassed? The story begins long before Europe ever dreamed of silk or spices. The coast of Kerala was already an ancient superhighway for global trade. From distant lands like Egypt and Mesopotamia, ships sailed in, hungry for black pepper, pearls, ivory, and cardamom. In return for these precious goods, they left behind their own treasures, Roman denarii, Greek drachmas, Persian darics, millions and millions of coins. Historians have found these very same coins embedded in the temple offerings dating back to the Sangam period. This is the first clue, proof that the treasure of Padmanabhaswamy began as the world's earliest foreign reserve. During the Sangam era, ancient Tamil poets didn't just call Thiruvananthapuram a rich city, they called it the city of gold. They wrote of walls that gleamed in the sun and rooftops that flashed like mirrors. The temple itself was known as Arituyal Amardon, which translates to the Golden Shrine. Imagine merchants arriving from as far as Rome, bowing before the deity Padmanabha before they even began to unload their cargo at the nearby Vizinjam port. They had a name for him too, Deus Ananta, the god who never ends. His legend was already traveling across the known world. This river of wealth only grew over the centuries. From the great Chera, Pandya, and Chola empires to the later Travancore royalty, every ruler who came to power offered lavish tributes. We're talking about magnificent crowns, entire thrones made of precious metals, and idols carved from single giant emeralds. When kings won battles, it was common practice to send the spoils of war straight to the temple vaults for safekeeping and as a thanks offering. Legend even claims that after losing a battle, the formidable Tipu Sultan sent back captured ornaments as a sign of profound respect for the Lord. But it wasn't just kings and empires contributing to this ever-growing hoard. For centuries, everyday devotees followed a sacred tradition of offering gold by weight. A humble farmer might donate a single precious coin earned from his harvest. A queen, on the other hand, might offer a priceless jewel from her personal collection. The temple had a simple, unwavering policy. It never sold anything. It only stored. Over time, these individual acts of devotion accumulated into a timeless bank of faith. Unlike modern banks where money circulates, here the wealth only ever grew, piling up century after century. By the 14th century, the collection had become so vast that a special record hall called the Matilakam was built just to keep track of it all. Inside, archaeologists have discovered thousands of delicate palm leaf manuscripts, each one detailing every single gift the temple received. They estimate that more than 30 crore entries exist, many of which are still undeciphered, written in ancient scripts like Proto-Tamil and Old Malayalam. One entry, haunting in its simplicity, reads, "Gift from a foreign king of the West. 3 chests of gold for the Lotus Lord." No name, no date, just pure tantalizing mystery. So, when Vault A was finally unsealed, the world got a glimpse of this history. Inside was a solid gold Vishnu idol, standing 1.1 meters tall and studded with flawless diamonds and rubies. There was a gold chain stretching over 5.5 meters long, and a golden veil that weighed a staggering 36 kilograms. They found thousands of golden necklaces called sarapali, intricate crowns meant for the deity himself, and even ancient Roman coins alongside Napoleonic-era medallions. This wasn't just a pile of wealth. It was a timeline of human civilization, told through precious metal. The mystery deepens when you consider how it was all protected. Each vault was sealed with massive granite slabs and hidden behind secret shafts. Some local beliefs even suggest that a network of underground channels connects the vaults directly to the Arabian Sea, a sacred escape route designed to protect the treasure during invasions. The temple's defenses weren't just physical. British officers who tried to map the structure in the colonial era reported that their compasses would spin wildly inside the temple's corridors, making it impossible to chart. For the devotees, this treasure isn't about its monetary value. It's not currency, it's accumulated karma. Each coin represents a prayer answered, each gem a note of thanks to the divine. This incredible wealth isn't meant to be spent or liquidated, because, in their eyes, it belongs to the eternal Lord himself. A local saying puts it perfectly: gold is impermanent. Faith is the real currency of Padmanabhaswamy. And that brings us to the modern mystery. Economists argue that $1 trillion treasure could fundamentally change a nation's GDP, solving countless problems. But the temple priests and guardians warn that to open the final untouched Vault B might come at a price far greater than any amount of gold. And so the debate continues. A quiet battle between devotion and desire, between faith and finance. All the while the temple sits serenely, unchanged by the noise, its ancient vaults echoing with centuries of whispered prayers. The real mystery, then, isn't just about how much gold lies beneath the floor. It's about how faith, pure and simple, managed to build a treasure so immense that even time itself cannot corrupt it. Beneath the granite heart of the temple lies a door that no human dares open. Vault B. It is the largest of all the cellars, built deep below the southwest corner of the main sanctum. Its entrance is foreboding, marked by 2 massive carved stone cobras, their emerald eyes seeming to glint even in the deepest darkness. The priests have a name for it: Mahabharata Kalara, the chamber of the epic. But to the public, it is known by a much simpler, more chilling name: the Forbidden Zone. What makes this door so terrifying? Legend says it was sealed not with locks and bolts, but with a Nagabandha mantra, a sacred sound vibration that binds metal, stone, and the very air itself into an impenetrable barrier. To break this seal without the exact correct chant, intoned at the perfect cosmic hour, would unleash what ancient texts call the 7 winds of Ananta. Old palm leaf scrolls give a stark warning: he who disturbs the Lord as sleep shall awaken fire, flood, and famine. This isn't just an old wives' tale. History is littered with warnings. In 1908, a small royal team tried to enter. As their torches neared the door, the flames flickered and turned an eerie blue. Moments later, they heard a terrifying roar from within, like a violent ocean crashing against stone. They retreated, and the priests sealed it again, forbidding any further attempts. Then, in 1931, during a severe economic crisis, officials proposed reopening the vault to use its contents for the public good. That very night, a devastating cyclone struck the coast, an event seen as a direct divine intervention. The plan was immediately and permanently abandoned. Fast forward to our own time. In 2011, India's Supreme Court ordered a full inventory of the temple's wealth. 5 of the 6 known vaults were opened, revealing a treasure hoard that stunned the world. And then, the team faced Vault B. As they approached, a strange phenomenon occurred. Every electronic device they had failed. Metal detectors went completely dead. Witnesses reported that the temperature around the door suddenly dropped by several degrees, a cold that had no scientific explanation. One of the priests, pale with fear, whispered, "He is still awake." The message was clear. The vault was left untouched. This is where the story takes a turn from myth to modern science. Unable to open the door, engineers brought in ground-penetrating radar to see what lay beyond. The results only deepened the enigma. The scans showed signatures of dense, unknown metals and a massive hollow cavity of indeterminate depth. But the most baffling discovery was the acoustic resonance patterns. The instruments picked up something that behaved like a slow, rhythmic heartbeat pulsing from within the chamber. Physicists labeled it a complex acoustic note, a scientific term for something they couldn't explain. But the monks had their own name for it: Ananta Shayanam, the divine sleep that protects the world. Spectral readings also revealed alternating electromagnetic pulses, as if something inside was alive, not with biology, but with sound and energy. The legends surrounding the vault are just as specific and terrifying. Ancient Malayalam manuscripts from the Matilakam records speak of 7 divine serpents who guard the Lord's secret treasure. The prophecy states that if the vault is ever forced open, these 7 serpents will rise from the waters of the nearby Padmanabhaswamy Temple tank. Their emergence would trigger catastrophic earthquakes and tidal waves that would not cease until the door is sealed once more with the correct divine mantras. Many locals swear that during the 2011 attempt, thousands of snakes suddenly appeared on the temple grounds the very next dawn, a clear and potent warning from the guardians. So, what are we to make of this? To skeptical scientists, the curse is a combination of trapped gases, built-up atmospheric pressure, and centuries of collective fear. A very real but explainable danger. But to believers, it is nothing less than a cosmic security system. Some spiritual masters offer another theory. They claim the vault contains not treasure, but something far more powerful: a Sri Chakra. This is a sacred geometrical diagram, possibly made of gold, that vibrates with ancient mantras. They believe this Sri Chakra acts as a spiritual battery, sustaining the powerful energy field of the entire temple. If it were disturbed, the spiritual equilibrium across the entire state of Kerala could shift, and the temple itself might lose its sanctity forever. In a recent, stunning discovery, architects found that the vault's physical location is no accident. Its coordinates align perfectly with the magnetic meridian that runs from Rameswaram to Kanyakumari. This alignment forms a sacred triangle with 2 other major Vishnu temples, creating an energy network known as the Vaishnava grid. And Vault B sits precisely at its heart, the central chakra point of this entire divine grid. Is this just a coincidence? Or is it evidence of an ancient science, a sacred geometry that modern understanding is only just beginning to grasp? Every few years the debate rages anew. Journalists, politicians, and historians demand the vault be opened in the name of knowledge and curiosity. And every single time the temple authorities, the priests, and the royal family give the same unwavering answer: let it be. Because perhaps in that silent, humming darkness lies a profound lesson. That some secrets are not meant for us to conquer, but simply to revere. As one of the old priests said, the Lord sleeps within, and as long as he sleeps, the world stays awake. As dusk falls on the city of Thiruvananthapuram, the temple bells echo across the surface of the Padma Tirtham tank, the water reflecting the glorious golden tower. Devotees whisper their evening prayers, and somewhere deep beneath their feet, the forbidden vault hums softly on, a living mystery, a heartbeat in the stone, patiently waiting in the dark. What do you think is inside Vault B? A cosmic weapon, a portal to another dimension, or simply the greatest treasure the world has ever known? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Every morning long before the sun rises over Thiruvananthapuram, the temple bells ring softly, their sound weaving through the morning mist. Down by the sacred tank, Padma Tirtham, devotees bathe, whispering a single name over and over: Ananta Padmanabha. Inside the temple's ancient corridors, thousands of lamps flicker to life, their flames dancing in the pre-dawn darkness. The air grows thick with the scents of jasmine and sandalwood. It's only 3:30 a.m. and the Lord still sleeps. But soon an ancient chant will gently awaken him. Before the sanctum the priests stand, their voices rising in unison as they chant the Shripada Suktam, the sacred hymn of awakening. There are no electronics, no modern lights, only the soft warm glow of oil lamps and the pure resonance of human voices. The massive doors creak open, slowly revealing the magnificent form of Vishnu. He reclines upon the cosmic serpent, Ananta, a lotus blooming from his navel with Brahma seated upon it. By his side are Lakshmi and Bhudevi. The golden idol seems to glow from within, radiating a living presence in the lamplight. It doesn't feel like a statue, it feels alive. One by one, each devotee bows down, their hearts whispering, I have come, my Lord, as your servant, Padmanabhadasa. This divine awakening is just the beginning. 6 times a day, this temple follows rituals that have remained unchanged for centuries. The Usha Puja happens at dawn, gently awakening the deity. As the sun climbs higher, the Panthiradi Puja offers fragrant flowers and fresh milk. At noon, the Ucha Puja presents the grand meal for the Lord. Then, as twilight descends, the Deeparadhana illuminates the entire temple with thousands of lamps, a truly breathtaking sight. The Lord's dinner, the Ataja Puja, follows, and the day concludes with the Sayana Puja, a ceremony to gently put the deity to rest. Even today, the king of Travancore participates in these sacred rituals, not as a ruler, but humbly as a servant of God. Throughout the year, the temple bursts into vibrant life during its great festivals, moments when faith becomes a spectacular celebration. During the Arat festival, on the 9th day, the Maharaja himself leads a procession, walking barefoot to the sea. The idols of Padmanabha, Narasimha, and Krishna are carried reverently to the shore and bathed in the ocean waves. Imagine the scene. The rhythmic sound of conch shells echoing across the water, the warm glow of torches lighting up the night, and the air filled with powerful rhythmic chants. It's a profound celebration of purity returning to its divine source. Then there is the Navaratri festival, a 9-night spectacle of art and devotion. The palace gates swing open, and the idols of Saraswati, Durga, and Murugan are brought from neighboring temples in a grand procession. For 9 nights, the air vibrates with the sounds of classical music, a tradition started centuries ago by the great composer king of Travancore, Swathi Tirunal. It's a cultural and spiritual feast for the senses. But perhaps the most awe-inspiring of all is the Laksha Deepam. This festival happens only once every 6 years, transforming the temple into a celestial sea of light. Over 100,000 oil lamps are lit, their collective glow so brilliant it can be seen for miles around. This incredible spectacle follows 56 days of continuous Vedic chanting, a powerful ritual symbolizing the complete illumination of body, mind, and soul. It's a sight that leaves you speechless, a testament to a faith that has burned brightly for millennia. To step inside this temple is to step back in time. Entry is governed by ancient rules of discipline and respect. Only Hindus are permitted to enter, and they must be dressed in traditional white attire. A veshti for men, a sari for women. No gold ornaments, no cell phones, no modern gadgets are allowed. Every devotee enters empty-handed, carrying nothing but their faith. It is said that within these sacred walls, all worldly identities simply dissolve. You are not rich or poor, powerful or humble. You are simply a soul standing before the eternal. At the very heart of the temple burns an eternal flame. This single oil lamp is said to have been lit over 1,000 years ago, and its flame has never once been extinguished. Priests carefully refill it with oil from a sacred well, a well believed to be connected to an underground stream flowing from the sea. This lamp is more than just a light. It is the living symbol of Padmanabha's unbroken, eternal presence. As long as this flame burns, the faith of Kerala burns with it. A constant, unwavering light in a changing world. Even in our modern age, the temple's sanctity is fiercely protected. In 2020, India's Supreme Court delivered a landmark ruling, reaffirming that the temple and its immense wealth do not belong to the state or any family, but to the deity himself, Lord Padmanabha. To this day, all major decisions concerning the temple are signed by the grace of Sri Padmanabhaswamy. Technology may have taken us to the stars, but inside these ancient granite walls, time seems to stand still, guarding a rhythm of devotion that has pulsed for centuries. When the last puja ends late at night, the Lord is gently put to rest. The thousands of lamps are dimmed and the heavy doors swing shut. Outside, the city of Thiruvananthapuram sleeps, but the temple continues to glow silently under the moonlight. And deep beneath it, the forbidden vault hums with its secrets, a powerful reminder that not all mysteries in this world are meant to be solved. Some are simply meant to be believed. After all, the real treasure of Padmanabhaswamy isn't the gold hidden in its vaults, but the faith that lives in the hearts that still bow before him. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey. If you were moved by this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more explorations into the world's most fascinating mysteries. Until next time.